Hello, my dear friends and viewers. HR Resonance channel today before you with another new, interesting, and useful topic pertaining to the industries. Under the Factory Act of 1948, where there are more than 500 and more workers are there, it is mandatory to appoint welfare officers. It is obligations of the employer to have the welfare officer, which we call is a statutory position and service conditions. For this, allied rules framed under the Factories Act 1948 and Karnataka Factories Rules 1969 also has made the regulations particularly for this appointment of welfare officers. Of course, nowadays, because of the globalization, change in the human dynamics, there is a change and a profile of the welfare officers. But nevertheless, being a statutory position and the functions, it has got its importance. Only thing, the new welfare officers have to gel and align with the human dimensions and aligning to the strategic partner of the business and aligning to the goals of the organizations. Under that, they have to perform and show their performance. Under this, I want to share quickly the few important aspects under the rules. Karnataka welfare officers duties, qualifications, and conditions of service rules 1963. Under this, as I already said, it is a mandate to appoint welfare officers where there are more than 500 workers. Under the new labor code, it has been reduced to 250 and more, which everybody has to keep in mind. Every factory employing 500 or more workers and less than 2000 workers shall appoint one welfare officer. That is the law. If women workers are more, then woman welfare officer should be appointed, which is a good avenue and they can perform well. Then where there are more than one welfare officer, one of them shall be the chief welfare officer and others will be the additional welfare officers under the regulations. And who can become welfare officers? Everybody cannot become the welfare officer, though they may be performing. It has got a certain qualifications and prescriptions. A welfare officer to be appointed should be obtained a degree or diploma in any social science with the personnel management, industrial relations, and labor welfare subjects in the recognized university. And he or she should have adequate knowledge spoken by the majority of workers because he or she has to gel and take care of welfare aspects of the employees along with other what we call nowadays the HR activities. And for this, as I said, it is a statutory position. Recruitment of welfare officers has certain regulations. Like it should be advertised in two prominent newspapers of the state, and also circulation of one out of that it should be circulated in one of the English newspaper. Further, it has to be notified to the employment exchange in addition to the paper advertisement. And a committee appointed by the occupier of the factory shall make the selection out of all these above sources. And also once welfare officer is appointed, it is obligatory on the part of the occupier to send notified this appointment giving full details of the qualification, etc., who should not be forgotten. And as I said, it is a statutory position. Service conditions of the welfare officers are governed under the Act and rules. He should be on the probation period, it is prescribed. And also the not only that very important aspect, welfare officer should be given appropriate status of like departmental head. And the conditions of service of a welfare officer shall be the same as that of other members of the staff who have corresponding status in the factory. It should not be subordinate function because he or she has to perform very effectively and meet the objectives of the organization as well as the statute which has envisaged. And some of the duties, of course, there are total 12 duties of the welfare officer. I think one can go through the rules of respective states. One of the some of the important thing what I want to highlight is promote the harmonious relations between the workers and the management. He should have all that skill, which is a noble function and which is a core function of HR today, what we call. And he should be a grievance master, that he or she should be grievances bring to the notice of the management and ultimately secure expeditious redressal of the grievances. Ultimately, we say happy worker or happy workforce is the asset of the organization. And he should act as a liaison officer between the management and workers, which is most important function. And he should help the management for shaping, formulating labor policies and interpret in their language to meet the objectives. To watch industrial relations and bring out the amicable settlement between the employees. Thus, along with others, totally there are, as I informed, 12 beautiful functions. Today, any HR or HRD, what we call any job functions contain that, but basically one should not forget it is a basically welfare of the employees. And one more important distinct functions and the difference between what we call either personnel officer or HR officer, whatever you call, distinct function of welfare officer, which many of the youngsters may be not knowing. That is, welfare officers not to deal with the disciplinary cases or appear on behalf of occupiers against the workers, because he is a basically buffer between the management and the workers, so that he should be objectives to instill the confidence among the workers, and he has to act on the behalf of the workers in the interest of both. No welfare officer deal with any disciplinary case against a worker or the workers, or appear before conciliation officer or in a court of tribunal on behalf of the management. This, very, very distinct functions of the welfare officer, which one must keep in mind. Thereby, he can objectively, without any prejudice, he can perform the welfare duties and reach to the justice of the all the concerned. And to elaborate some more, welfare officers' activities are included in align with his functions and duties: housing, canteen, shelter, cooperatives, leave management, working conditions, ameliorating the working conditions, education of children, etc., which are all very, very broad. As I said, my dear friends, though the welfare officer or welfare functions are a holy cow, because they are holy cow, we have to worship howsoever cost is there. But one thing in a modern context, in a changed industrial scenario, this being a statutory function and the requirement, they have to take care and know about all these functions, and they should align and gel with the modern thing while aligning to the goals of the organizations, and they should be inbuilt in strategic partner with the management. Thereby they can achieve the objectives of the organization while meeting the justice and equity to the functions. And ultimately, any HR, whether you call welfare, HRD or HR, ultimately what? The satisfaction, fruitful engagement, and happy of the employees or workers force at the bottom. Because only the happy and contented, welfare oriented employees can contribute, thereby industries will prosper. Well, my dear friends, this is all about the welfare officer in functions and about the welfare officer profile in brief. Whenever you make any applications, particularly the newcomers, those who wants to make a career in the welfare line, or any of the HR or MBAs, they have to start with the welfare officer so that they can have the insight about this one, they can perform well, and ultimately human relations is very important. Thereby, the very what I can say, insights will be achieved and happiness, thereby achieving the very objectives of the welfare officer. Thank you, my dear friends, for watching and observing this TV. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. And please share this video to all, since this being a very pious and important function, and knowledge about the welfare functions which almost have forgotten nowadays. Thank you very much.